Welcome to part one of my journey of building my railroad. So let's get started. I'll start when I got the materials. I got the 4x8 sheet of plywood as well as the pink foam board that I'm going to put on top of it, as well as the 1x2s I'm going to use to frame the bottom to get it up off the table and give me just a little bit of a lip afterwards. My next step was to go ahead and build the base that the plywood and everything's going to sit on. I just used 1x2s and built it and moved it in just a little bit so there's just a little bit of lip. This is what the underside looks like after I built the brackets going through the middle. I did drill holes through those, so if I need to run wires later, I've already got those pre-drilled. And I have these sitting on just some tables I got at Walmart. I have not seen anyone use this double-sided woodworking tape to mount the foam board to the plywood, but it looks like a pretty good little product, so I'm going to give it a try and see how it works out. The base is now complete, so I'm going to just lay some track on it temporarily just to see how it runs on the pink foam and review some documentation I got with the initial train set I bought. I'm using AnyRail to design the layout. I initially went with this very basic and popular one by Bachmann and thought I was going to use it, and I even laid out the track and had all the pieces. But after further review, I've decided to go in with something a little bit more involved and a lot more options for running rails, and went back into AnyRail and designed the new layout, and this is what I'm going to go with. What I did next was go in and print out the layout on sheets of paper from AnyRail and started cutting and pasting them down onto the pink foam. And this took a little bit of a time, and I went ahead and laid out the full sheets, and then I went back in and started trimming away the white excess paper so that afterwards all I had left over was just the track itself outline. The next step I took was to transfer the outline of the track directly onto the pink foam, and I did this by carefully lifting up corners and going around and tracing where the track was. After I did that, I went and put some wax paper down over the area that I knew was going to be raised up by 1.5 inches. And using the wax paper, I was able to see through it and trace it, and then go in and cut this shape out so I could cut the piece of plywood to fit. Using that template that I just marked out, I laid it on some MDF board that I'm going to use to help build this up, and then using that same MDF template, I went ahead and laid it on top of another sheet of pink foam. This is 1-inch foam, and cut it out to match it. With the MDF and the pink foam board cut to the shape that I want, I got some scrap pieces of wood, cut them to the thickness that I needed, incorporating both the thickness of the MDF and as well as the pink foam board, and spaced them out so that I could raise this up. This is going to be an even plane within this layout. So once again, I used the double-sided tape and put it on both sides, tacked it down, and put the MDF as well as the foam on that. At this point, I've got that little raised area complete, so I went ahead and put the template that I made out of wax paper back on top of it. And the next little clip I have here is how I started making the ramps for the going up. I just used the pink foam, and then I used my electric sander and started tapering it down to get a smooth rise. I had my camera sitting on the bench that I was sanding on, so that's why you see it shaking a little bit. I did turn the volume off on that because no need to hear the noise of the sander, but it did end up with a very nice smooth rise. To test out to see how this worked, I used a couple of toothpicks to hold it in place, and then held it where it's going down and tapering down, and I'm very pleased with the way it turned out. So I'm going to go ahead and go with this process and do some supports underneath it. I'm very pleased with the progress that I've made so far, and I'm enjoying building this train model up from scratch. I do appreciate you taking the time to watch it. I'm going to go ahead and end, this is going to be into part one, and I'll make part two after I get some more work done and get some video and pictures taken for you. If you feel like watching more, please feel free to subscribe and leave comments below. Thank you very much.